Greetings, folks. Chris in Central Texas. I'm updating you on a story that unfortunately broke Friday, a situation in which a South African family already approved for refugee resettlement in the United States. The wife, we believe, was attacked, but we do know that she's been shot in the head, apparently through the chin, up through her skull. She's alive. She survived. Apparently, a housekeeper and her 7-year-old daughter were at home at the time. Her husband was out, came home, found her. The good news is the daughter doesn't know that this horrible situation occurred to her mother. She just believes that her mother fell. That's good news. And the daughter's in good spirits and doing well. The wife was taken to hospital in Gauteng, where she, overnight from Friday to Saturday morning, woke up during the night and ripped the tubes out of her arms, which for the physicians was a very good sign. They were concerned about paralysis and other damage. But obviously, if she's able to use her arms, you can imagine the frightful situation of having been shot in the head. We don't know the circumstances for that. But then waking up from either a coma or induced coma and gaining consciousness to find yourself in a strange place, not knowing what's going on, having tubes coming out of your arms. But she is doing well at this hour on Monday, just a few days later. I've been in touch with the family. I've been chatting with the husband, trying to respect his privacy and not push him. This is a horrific situation. As I said, they were supposed to fly to the United States on Tuesday. This is unimaginable. For the Ferrayas and the Lugnes and Betrugnes, the leftist scumbags and the hate wankers out there who constantly talk about, and for that matter, the President of the Republic of South Africa calling South Africans who flee from their cowards. Well, I'm going to weigh in on something that Kara Hatzenberg said in Belofteland. She said, "Call me a coward. I wear that label proudly. My children are alive and they're safe." We can't say the same thing about safety for others. Now, I don't know what happened here in this situation, if she was targeted, what the circumstances of the shooting were. We do not know that, and there's no need for speculation at this point. What I am doing is making this video because a lot of people have been speculating and wondering what's going on. As I said, I am in touch with the family, and she is doing well at this stage. At least that's the latest information we have. Shocking for someone to experience this. Can you imagine the dream of escaping these horrors, only for the worst of the horrors to be inflicted upon you mere hours before departing? One can only imagine the difficulty this family is going through right now. I've reached out again to the husband moments before doing this video to find out if they need accommodation. Because imagine they're just a couple of days from leaving. Presumably they've either sold their home or ended their lease, probably maybe even got rid of their vehicles, and have limited amount of money planning on relocating to the United States. Do they have money for food? Do they have a place to stay? On all those accounts, he says that they're okay for now. And there's been no effort, I think, by anybody so far to make a Back a Buddy program to raise money for this family. I don't know if that's necessary. It's not my place to do that. It's also not my place to share the names. A lot of people speculating, want to know who they are, where they're going. I do know who they are. I do know where they're going, but I'm not going to share that to protect their privacy and in case they remain in danger. But the good news at this stage is that the daughter is well, the husband is well, and the family is surviving. The wife still in hospital after such a horrific situation. I just wanted to update everyone about this. This just brings home the urgency of this program. And when bureaucrats fumble cases or make mistakes, there can be truly tragic and horrific consequences for those waiting to flee. It's a different story if you fled from Somalia and you're living in the Dadaab camp in northern Kenya and you've been there for years and you're waiting to leave. The threat from Somalia is not in your face. For in-country refugee status for people fleeing racial persecution, and if that includes racially motivated crime, in-country means you are still exposed to the threat until you're on a plane out of South Africa. All refugee aspirants, all refugee applicants, all thinking about this program should keep that in mind. If you're at risk in South Africa, you remain at risk until you're on the plane. It's an unnerving but a true situation. Our hearts and prayers go out to the family on this day and hope that she has a full recovery for something that never should have happened. Never should have happened. Had they had tickets a week prior, who knows? This might not have happened. The bottom line here is for all the people who lie about this program and continue to tell people that it's a program for whites only, white Afrikaner farmers, you're liars. You ferrayas. You betray South Africa, you betray South Africans by spreading those lies and spreading racial discord among South Africans. And in the afterlife, if there is such a thing, I'm sure that you will not be greeted with open arms, because you're doing true harm to people who are simply seeking safety from persecution. During apartheid, many black South Africans felt reviled by what the government did to them. They reached out for help in the West, and help came from the West. Help came from America, despite the lies being told about post-apartheid history. Reflecting back on it, America did come to South Africa's aid. But the world is turning a blind eye to what's happening in South Africa today, and they're all shameful human beings for doing such a thing. They're disgraceful, despicable excuses, these politicians in Europe, in South Africa, and many here in America. What's happening in South Africa is horrific, and it's actually true. It's happening. And as I've said before, crime doesn't affect just Afrikaners or just white South Africans. It affects all South Africans. But we all know that some South Africans are targeted specifically because of their race. And that's the issue at hand here. Thoughts and prayers to the family. We wish them well. When I can give you more updates, I'll do that. The only reason I'm doing this video now is there's been a lot of speculation. People are posting things in groups, posting things on Facebook, all over. And I think it's important to get the facts out there. So thoughts and prayers to the family. If they need help or anyone does a Back a Buddy campaign to raise funds for care, I'll let you know. God bless.